for the first episode of the Comic Den, brand new show here where we're going to be talking about all sorts of different comic stuff week to week. We have a whole show planned out, and we're going to see how this works out. I know you sort of have your weekly Star Wars show that you do, and so now we're going to do, and I know you're turning it more into just a general geek show, but here we're having our own sort of comic show go on now, so that's going to be awesome.
JD doesn't really read a lot of comic books, so it's not really an outlet that I have on that show.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, trying to find somebody to do this with, I think is kind of hard, just, out of the people I talk to. So, but I'm glad to have something here going. Welcome in, everybody. Let me double check that this doesn't work. Oh, that. Hold on. See if this works here. Welcome in, Matthew. I was having issues with the chat thing earlier, and it might be working now. So, but welcome in, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming by for this special first episode of the Comic Den. You know what? I haven't played the intro. Let's get that intro going.
Yeah.
All right, we are here for the Comic Den, brand new episode, premiere episode, and so very excited to get into all this. We're gonna have our sort of main topic we talk about every week, and so I think what better way to begin our first show than just kind of talk about like some of our favorite stories in general of like. And for me, how I approached mine was just like talking about the stories that mean something to me. And so, but those are also my favorites, at the same time, and so a little bit of a double edge here,
Man, I didn't even think of it that way.
Okay. So
okay. Yeah.
Now,
like my list, I wouldn't even say if it is a definitive top 5. It's just, here are some stories that I really like.
Yeah, like I know mine is in like my top 10, but I can't say they'd be my definitive top 5 per se.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we're gonna be getting to that.
I would say that two of mine on my top 5. If I were gonna put a definitive top 5 together, 2 of them would definitely be on there.
Yeah. Gotcha.
The others are just stories that I really like these.
yeah, that's fair, and so, but yeah, I think
mostly another reason why mine are the way they were is I wanted to, I didn't want them all to be like the same character.
There we go. I got the chat working. Sorry, I was just complaining right before the show went live that the chat wasn't working, and it's working now. So, sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Technical things.
No, it's good. No, I didn't want all of mine to be the same character, or like too many of them be the same character, because then I'd be like, okay, here's my top 5. Oh, 4 of them are this character.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something we're going to notice, particularly when in one of our couple segments that we have going up here. Something we want to do in the show is just highlight like what we've personally read, but then also what we're personally looking forward to. And so actually the first thing I have is highlighting whatever we have read.
Okay.
Or anything that maybe you would have picked up that you'd also want to highlight. So if you want to go first, by all means, for anything you've read.
Special highlight. This week I read, so last week's pull list had 3 comics on it.
Okay.
would have had more because I had to do a major renovation of my pull list due to financial issues.
Sure.
So last week's pull list included Ultimate Spider-Man number 13.
Nice.
Detective Comics number 1093 and Wonder Woman. Absolute Wonder Woman number 4.
Nice.
Other than that, I've been bouncing around reading I've been reading a lot of Daredevil lately.
Fair enough.
But also, like last night, I just finished a reread of Ultimate Spider-Man, the original Ultimate Spider-Man,
Nice.
Volume 6, the Brian Michael Bendis run.
Nice. I've heard great things about that run.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's what I hear. See, that's the thing is I hear amazing things about it, but I haven't had much interest in going to read it like for myself. I don't know.
You really should.
I know I should.
Yeah, no. If I was going to go I thought about putting that as one of my number 5, but the whole run is not really one story. So
Sure. Yeah.
For today's top 5
purposes.
stories.
Yeah, sure.
Like if I was going to do top 5 comic books just in general, that would probably be in my top 5.
Sure. That's cool. All right.
What about you? What have you been reading?
What have I been reading? That's a great question. I have with me the main couple trades I've read this week. Well, actually, let me say. Well, yeah, I'll highlight these first. I know I brought this up to you. It's called Minor Threats.
Yeah.
And so this is actually really good. Written by Patton Oswalt. Oswalt. That some of you may know that name.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's his take on the way I describe it is like Invincible meets like Injustice, but it's focused on a D team of like villains. So, and then the other main trade that I've read through is the Crow Special Edition.
Oh, very nice.
This is fantastic. They're both really good. It's awesome. Yesterday, I reread through all of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin because I have an episode of premiere episode of a series that me and Chris, fellow Red Shirt over on Red Shirts Remastered, where we are going through the different Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics. And so, yeah, very excited to get into those.
I have, sorry, I didn't interrupt. I have, where's that? I have this one.
Yes, that is what we read. We read through that yesterday and talked about it. And so I have this whole special
I really like that book. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that is a fantastic book. And so I highlighted Matthew is here. Steve number 2 is here. Thank you so much for coming by, Steve. Taco Cat's here. JD's here. Cat. Thank you all so much for coming by. Really appreciate it. And so, but yeah. So, yeah, I have been reading something else, but I'll say it's an omnibus that I'll probably wait to show next week because it's going to be the primary thing I'd be reading until the next show. So I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
So, but something I do want to highlight though, welcome in comic book fan. Great to see you here. Is actually another omnibus I just got in the mail that I'm actually planning on getting signed. And that is this Christopher Priest Black Panther omnibus. Nice. And this is actually like the only Black Panther comic I've really ever read before. Like not entirely, but like just some of. Because when I first started getting into comics, I read a lot digitally and kind of like there's two ways you get into comics. I think the one way is you either pick a character and you just delve into that character, or the other way is you can look at what's known to be some of the best stories and you just dive into those. And so,
I just realized on YouTube I'm logged into my Rebel Rock Radio account, not my main account.
Yes.
Comic book fan said, "Hey, Rebel Rock Radio." I'm like, "Oh crap!"
But when I was getting into looking at recommended Marvel stories to read, that Black Panther book came up, and I've read like the first 6 or 12 issues of that before, and I remember really liking it. And so when I saw that he's coming to the con near me in like a month and a half, I was like, I need something to get signed, as I don't own any of his work physically. So,
I actually just this past week read or finished reading a book by Christopher Priest. I mentioned him. I just finished reading Superman Lost.
Okay. See, okay, I lied. I own that issue, but I wasn't crazy over that issue.
Yeah, I read the whole collection.
Does it get better?
10 issues.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it's fine.
Fine. Okay.
It's not one of my favorite Superman stories, but it's fine.
Sure. Welcome in, Ralph. Great to see you here. Good buddy there.
Hey, Ralph.
But yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've read and stuff over the last week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There might be another couple little things here and there, but that's the main stuff. That's the main highlights for me, at least. Yeah.
Very cool.
So, all right. So our next order of business that we're going to be getting into is highlighting different comics that is coming out that we're looking forward to. I think this is actually, I don't know if I'd want to say it a smaller week. I mean, maybe you could say that, but we're just going to highlight issues that come out on New Comic Book Day on Wednesday that we're looking forward to.
Ooh.
Chris says we all know his favorite is All-Star Superman. For you there, Steve.
So here's the thing, Chris. When we recorded that episode, I talked a lot about how I'm not a huge fan of
Grant Morrison.
That opinion has somewhat changed because since then I have read a few things that he has done outside of All-Star Superman, and have really enjoyed them, like a lot. So I'm a big X-Men fan, and I never got around to reading his run on X-Men. So I read it last year, and it's probably one of my favorite runs of X-Men. Like one of them. Not my absolute favorite, but it is a freaking amazing run. So it made me think, okay, I need to read some more Grant Morrison stuff. And I did. And so I'm probably going to reread All-Star Superman. Just
okay.
My opinion has changed to that.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, the chat is really kind of weird for me because I did not see that message that Chris posted.
Oh, he retracted it because it was on the wrong channel at first. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But yeah, I remember that episode, Chris. It was I really dogged on Grant Morrison. And
yeah. It's our joke about anytime we see Grant Morrison. It's like, oh, it's your favorite writer. and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of not as funny now that you actually have something that you like by him.
Yeah, I'm like, I really liked that X-Men run that he did. It was like
Nice. Yeah, I need to read it. I think I started it, but I never got far in it.
so good. And it was like, as I'm reading it, I'm like, wait a minute. Did he create these characters? Like a certain like there were certain characters, and I'm
Sure.
like, did he create these characters? And then I'd go and like Google those characters, and I'm like, holy shit, Grant Morrison created these characters. Like these characters that I've just known forever and like
It's cool.
never read them before.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
What were we
It's
talking
funny.
about? Oh yeah. Oh, what comics are coming out next week?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Next week's comics that I just realized my thing's a little bit cut off here. I don't know why it's a little different here. I might fix this as we talk about them. We'll see. Technical difficulties. It's always, you know how it is. All right. First off, what we have is one from my list, and actually, this is going to bug me. Talk about something really quick while I figure this out really quick.
So it's weird because there's like I don't have anything on my pull list this week, which is weird. But then when I look at what is being released, because I figured, oh, it's just a bunch of stuff that I probably took off my pull list. But if I look at Marvel that's coming out this week, I see that X-Men 10 is coming out.
Yeah.
Which X-Men did not make the cut.
Right. I removed it as well.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I said I removed mine as well. Actually, I barely have any Marvel left on my pull list.
The only other one that came out, and this one I may actually end up buying anyway because I forgot that it's coming out. But it is Star Wars: A New Legacy #1.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually might. I will probably go ahead and buy that one.
Nice.
I completely forgot that was coming out this week. But as far as DC goes,
got this fixed.
There is nothing coming out that used to be on my list, which is really weird because usually there is some Bat-related book coming out.
Yeah.
But no. But there are 3 #1s coming out that are of interest. I don't know if I'll buy them or not.
Sure.
I mean, eventually I might, but right away I probably won't. There is a Superman Lex Luthor special coming out.
There we go. Here, I'll got that up on the screen here.
Yeah, that one is written by Joshua Williamson.
Yeah, so he's the writer who does all the main Superman stuff.
Yeah.
And so I heard about the special, but I didn't realize it was coming out this week. So I'm actually gonna probably
I didn't either. I
comic shop to get me a copy myself. Actually, I picked up the Super. What do they call that one? Superwoman special that they did. Like it's not Supergirl because it's. Or maybe they did call it Supergirl. I don't remember, but there's a thing now where Lois Lane has powers because of what happened. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Superwoman. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Superwoman.
And so I picked up that special since it ties into like more directly into like what they're doing. But I think this special is going to start setting up a bit more of like what's going to happen after this whole Doomsday arc that they're in right now, which is pretty wild right now. I recommend checking it out to anybody that wants to read some Superman. It's doing a couple things I wasn't quite expecting in a good way. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The other one that is coming out is another Lex Luthor related. It is called DC's Lex and the City.
Yeah, that's it there.
And it is written by, actually there's several writers. There's a comic.
Yeah, it looks like it's a $10 special. So
oh, okay. Yeah. So it's
let's see here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's about, but it's Lex Luthor, so it's like I'm like, it looks interesting.
Like me some Lex Luthor for sure. I'm trying to find where it is here on this list of where it's posted. Because here's the description. All right, I got it. As Superman flew away yet again, I had to wonder, was I just trying to destroy him or was he destroying me? So yeah, written by a bunch of people. It's Valentine's Day, which means that love and heartbreak are sweeping every day in every city in DCU. This anthology collects 8 stories of heroes and villains looking for love in the big city. So it's a Valentine's Day special, essentially.
Yeah. Another thing that I just noticed that is coming out.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I'm going to buy it, but it'll come out on DC Infinite next month, so I may read it then. But it is called Rise of the Power Company.
Oh, yeah. I actually talked about that one, I think last week, where it's the it's this like special highlighting milestone characters and whatnot. So
yeah, it looks like it could be interesting, and they're doing it's a special for Black History Month.
Right. Yes. Nice. Awesome. Well, got a couple things I want to highlight that I have coming out on my pull list, and of course now it makes it smaller. Why do you hate me? All right, we have Green Lantern, issue 19. I love to keep up with the Green Lantern stuff. Green Lantern is actually like my second favorite part of like the DC universe, and so I'm very happy with this current run of Green Lantern.
I read the first issue of this current run, and I didn't go any further. So
it's the first arc it's a little more down to earth, but then after that it'll get more spacey.
Yeah,
like where they start, not necessarily set on Earth, but it sets up a really interesting. It sets up a lot of interesting stuff in that first arc as to like why he's on Earth, what's going on there, and I don't know. I personally really like this era of Green Lantern that we're in right now.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's actually the best Green Lantern that has come out since Jeff Johns. Since
I'm a fan of Green Lantern. I've got I don't have it spun around to the right, but I've got a whole section there of Green Lantern.
That's awesome.
And then I've got both the volumes of Green Lantern Earth 1. Yeah, I like Green Lantern. I do. I like Green Lantern. I wanted to like this one. Maybe I'll give it another shot.
So now that you can read the first few arcs fully, maybe it'll hit different, I think. The only thing that annoyed me out of this run was, you remember like a year and a half ago when they did the Night Terrors stuff and everything tied into Night Terrors? I think that's what it's called. What annoyed me was this series was 2 issues in, and then it tied into Night Terrors for like 2 issues. And I was like, really? So annoying. So, meaning I took a break, a 2-month break, because it tied into Night Terrors, and it was just 2 issues in. But anyway, it was annoying. Also, what we have is actually topical with what me and Chris discussed yesterday, is Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution issue 4 of 5, which after the last issue of this comes out, we'll be talking about that on Turtle Talk. So keep an eye out for a discussion over the first Last Ronin on on Tuesday. I'm gonna make Turtle Tuesday a thing on Dingiston whenever I have one of these episodes to come out. So check out our first episode of that. And so this will be expect us to talk about this one sooner than later once it's all out.
Yeah.
And then last one I have on my list is Violator issue 5.
Oh yeah.
This series I think is some of the best Spawn stuff we've gotten in a very, very long time. Out of the new stuff, it's easily the best, and so I've absolutely loved this series. Can't wait to get. I think this is 6 issues long, so looking forward to having it almost all completed and in my hands, as every issue has been great. Well, the first issue is kind of weird, but like especially once again to like 2, and after that it really picks up, I think. So really looking forward to this one, as it has not disappointed me yet.
So jumping back to the Green Lantern
Sure.
topic, with DC Infinite, I can read up to number 18.
So that's going to catch you up to pretty much the end of that arc. That's the end of an arc right there.
Okay. Cool.
After 18, it goes to the Civil Core special that just came out. I think that's what it's called.
I'm sorry, the Civil what?
Civil Core special.
Okay.
Or something like that. Or is that the other one? They did a special, or unless that was a special that they did in the All-In month. Because they just had a special release this month that sets up their new arc. But then they had another special in October with all the All-In stuff. That was really like issue 1 of that arc. One of them was a Civil Core special, and I don't remember the name of the other special.
Okay.
But they'll all be on there. It'll tell you at the end of the issue.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Did the creative team change or no? No, it's the same.
No,
it's the same writer. Okay.
See, I've grown to like that writer too. I know he's done a bit of stuff on Flash before, which I know people like a good bit. I haven't read it personally. I'd get to it eventually though. But I've really grown to like him with how he's been handling Green Lantern, and I've also really liked the first issue of Aquaman he just put out, because he's the current writer.
Oh, was that him?
Yes, it was him. Okay. And I like that first issue of Aquaman, which is interesting because you're seeing Aquaman having to use new powers now, as he like now has the powers that Mera has or had. And so there's some heroes' powers are switched around because of absolute power. So that's why
I will probably read that number 1 when it hits Infinite.
Let me know what you think of it. I enjoyed it. So I thoroughly enjoyed that one. So, all right. Well, next up is our news segment. I actually feel like this week was pretty news heavy. I ended up kind of got a couple things, but at the very least, I want to just try to get through all this stuff quickish. So a bit of this stuff will probably just end up speed running through, just because I think a lot of it's worth mentioning. So especially this first one. This first one is one that I actually talked about before on Chris's daytime show over on Red Shirts Remastered. And I want to talk about this as it's about Godzilla vs. America, which was a Godzilla series that they announced. But the LA issue is now going to, all of its funds, every single penny used that they earned from making this is from all the sales and stuff is going to be going towards 100% of it going towards BINC, which is the Book Industry Charitable Foundation, where their whole mission is to support local comic stores and bookshops and whatnot. And so all their funds that they get from this comic is going to be helping out those specific stores impacted by the terrible accidents or just the terrible, what do you want to say? nature's wrath over in LA right now, where
yeah,
it's very rough over there. So thoughts and prayers is there's still it's going to take them a long time to recover if they can completely.
yeah.
So, but I just want to highlight that as that's something very special. As I think because of this, I'm probably going to pick up this issue. So, all right. We also have some other Godzilla stuff. We have Godzilla vs. Hulk. There's a special issue here coming out. Which this idea I actually think sounds interesting. Where just seeing that both Godzilla and Hulk are just, the kind of people that go at it against each other, just those two beasts of massive rage. I think that they'd be interesting to see go up against each other, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's why it was that way. Okay. So we'll see what happens there. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm trying to. There we go. All right, and then we also have this one. I'm not so sure about is Godzilla versus Spider-Man. Not quite sure how this one's going to work out. Fresh from the original Secret Wars, Peter Parker returns. So it's set right after Secret Wars, where he has the symbiote suit, though. So that's interesting. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, if we get a symbiote Godzilla, that'd be cool.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. We'll see. I know the first of these they're doing is Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, and so I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be cool. So looking forward to all that stuff. We also have, I think this is one you may actually be looking forward to: the Wolverine and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, that one gives us the return of Chris Claremont.
He's done some stuff here and there before, particularly these Wolverine miniseries. I actually read the last two he did. Last one was Deep Cut, and then the one before that, I don't remember what it was called.
Well, you see, if anybody that is a huge X-Men fan, or I mean, really a big fan of X-Men in general, would recognize that name because
That's true.
He wrote X-Men for nearly 20 years.
It's crazy. His massive run on X-Men there. It's insane how big it is. It's just nuts is what it is. Absolutely nuts. I like this name that Matthew gave the Vinzilla nom. I like that.
Vinzilla.
The Vinzilla. Yeah, I think just Vinzilla works. The Vinzilla,
Man, playing Venom, playing as Venom in Spider-Man 2, that was amazing.
Spider-Man 2's I can't wait. There's rumors of his Venom spin-off game. I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I hope it's a thing.
Yeah. I've liked all of those games. I liked the first Spider-Man. I liked the Miles Morales game.
Yeah.
And so far in Spider-Man
Chris
2,
has a question that I think you'd be able to answer better than I would because of how X-Men and Uncanny X-Men names kind of are and aren't the same at the same time. Chris is saying he did Uncanny, yeah?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he did Uncanny. He actually did. So he wrote at least the first issue, X-Men #1, the one that came out in 1991, the one that Jim Lee
right.
did the artwork on. But he left somewhere shortly after that run. So he wrote #1, and let me see where he stopped. He did.
I don't remember how many of those he wrote.
He may have. That may have been the only one that he wrote. Hold on, that can't be right.
No, I feel like he wrote like the first little arc of that. I don't. At the
Yeah, he
very
wrote.
least.
I keep feeling that he wrote more of those. I'm trying to find a good. Okay, that's not a good one. Okay, so there's number 1. That was Claremont. Number 2 was Claremont.
Yeah. He
wrote.
Okay. He wrote a
So
bit.
yeah, he wrote that for a little bit. And then that was when he left X-Men. It was during that run.
Right.
But Claremont has. If you are an X-Men fan, Claremont really is like definitive as far as modern X-Men goes.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
huge. So, but yeah, this one goes back to the arc with Miraku Yashida that Logan's trying to stay with, and so bit of a love story you're getting here with Wolverine and Kitty Pryde that he's going back to.
Yeah.
So cool to see. So yeah, Chris is saying he knew some of his stuff here and there in the 90s then. Yeah. Huge name. Lots of stuff.
So the very first comic book I ever read, like in my life, was an X-Men comic, and it was a Chris Claremont X-Men comic.
Nice. That's awesome. That is very cool. Why do I have it ordered this way? Okay, I just realized I had something ordered. A quick mention I want to do for a bit of news is, you know how Marvel does those Infinity comics. They just finished up doing one for Marvel Rivals, the first 6 issues of their Infinity, which is going to be printed out later this year in like April or something like that. I think April sounds right. And it is going to be continuing into the spring, issue 7 spring. So they're going to be doing more, as the game's been a huge success so far. And I think this Infinity comic has actually gotten the app a little bit more attention. I've actually seen people talking about this story a little bit. So since it's tied into the game. So yeah, welcome in Castro.
And Dragon Buddy is here.
And welcome in Dragon Buddy. What's up, DB? How's it going? All right.
But yeah, he said Chris Claremont is goated in regards to X-Men. I completely agree.
Absolutely. The pinnacle X-Men writer. So yeah. All the Infinity stuff. Best to read in the app. Yes. So, all right. Now we have another bit of Star Wars news here regarding this like is and isn't a reveal, I feel like, because it talks about, like, we knew that their Star Wars line was going to be coming back with new stuff, new issues post Return of the Jedi, and that they're doing these after their whole Battle of Jakku stuff that they just, I guess they're finishing up now. I don't know exactly when like how that's been going. I haven't really kept up.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to being done.
Okay. Yeah, because it seemed like it was like a special like 3-month event, right? Like, I think so. But anyway, we knew this was coming, but they've officially now shown it, so we actually get a look at it now of what they're doing with the post Return of the Jedi era Star Wars comics that they're doing, which is written by Alex Segura, which I don't know that name. Do you know that name?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar to me either. Penciled by Phil Noto. Covers. One of the covers is by him, and so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. They don't really give us much about this. Obviously they're just talking about like, oh, with the honor to write these iconic characters, and just saying that they're great. Yeah, they don't really say so. Says we can speed ahead to an uncharted area with some new galactic threats and foes, and which is interesting because this is probably going to get into the time frame pretty soon of where like Mandalorian and stuff takes place in. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Let's see here. Chris asks a good question. When are we playing more Rivals, Castro? Huh? Spencer, didn't you skip a big Marvel run? I'm sure there's a lot I haven't read. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I skip a big Marvel run? I don't know what he's talking about. There's a lot of stuff I skip out on. But I'll eventually try to read a bunch of them. So, but yeah, they don't give too much here about what this is actually about. It just says Luke Skywalker must defend New Republic from a bloodthirsty gang of mercenaries. Han Solo investigates a deadly underworld mystery and saves a surprising ally. And Leia Organa must grapple with the new alliance imposed for the goals of the New Republic. So, like, nothing really crazy, So I don't know. We'll see what happens as this goes on. I'll probably wait to get these. Mainly because my pool is already pretty full as is, and and there's already so much. I don't know. There's nothing here that like immediately grabs me. I'm like, I want to read this. I don't know. So. Oh yeah, you're right. I had Star Wars. Actually, I haven't skipped that yet because there's other Marvel stuff that, for whatever reason, I had Star Wars sandwiched there in the middle. We actually do have that one. Actually, that was next, which is funny. Here you go. So this is what we know you're looking forward to most, Steve, is Concert of Champions, written by Jason Liu. Marvel's first annual music festival with a stacked lineup, as you see Dazzler performing there. That's exactly what you're wanting, right?
That is, yeah, I've been waiting all my life for that.
Yeah, exactly. So see, we're gonna have to do a special episode all over this, right? Wink wink.
For sure, yeah. Why not?
The Concert of Champions. Yeah. That's I was not expecting this to be a thing, but you know what? It's a thing. Concert of Champions. Now we also have, I wanted to highlight really quick the preview of Amazing Spider-Man 1. Because I know I was kind of talking about this a little bit in your Discord a little bit. I was like, I find it silly that this creative team is the same team that's doing the last arc of Spider-Man right now, Amazing Spider-Man. And it's because I'm pretty sure that's not Jeff there, Chris. That's somebody else. I was like, he was black, not gray. Something. Go back, top left corner. I know who you're talking about, Chris. You swear, hold on. Chris is thinking that's not Jeff here. Hold on. Let me. It's not Jeff right there. It's not Jeff. That's. It looks like this might be like a girl shark. Jeff doesn't have titties like this. Oh wait, hold on. Yes, I am.
Because I can't see anything.
Oh, you're right. I didn't share it with you. My bad. Hold on.
I think you've been showing all this media, and I'm missing it because
hold on. I got you. I just realized I forgot to share this as I usually do.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're thinking this was Jeff at first. That is not Jeff. Jeff Gruesome, nice boom.
Okay, I'm in because Spider-Gwen.
Oh, Jeff Gruesome, nice boobs. That's hilarious.
Who's writing it?
Jason Liu.
Okay.
Not familiar with who Jason Liu is. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's just some other shark person. I don't know who that is. So, but Amazing Spider-Man. We have Amazing Spider-Man here. Creative.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're back on that. Okay.
Yeah. And so I actually want to read this arc of Amazing Spider-Man that this creative team is doing now, called like the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, I think is what it's called. Ties in with Doctor Doom and stuff. And so I want to read it. And apparently I think that was meant to be a closing arc, I guess. for this Amazing Spider-Man, and maybe their whole plan was to reboot Amazing Spider-Man anyways afterwards. But I think they ended up liking that story so much, like just the Marvel's like internal team there, to where they're just now they like that team enough to where they're doing Spider-Man now.
I like the cover.
Yeah, I the seeing the art of this actually has me kind of wanting to like a little bit curious on it. Like
yeah,
I want to check it out.
I might pick it up. I'll at least pick up issue number 1.
See how it is. Yeah. I like this. I like if this is a tease for just like lineup of villains we could get later on. I'll take it. I like it. I haven't actively read Spider-Man in a long time, so we'll see.
I haven't actively read Amazing Spider-Man. I did read, I'm going to say recently, but I don't know. Let's see how recent it actually was. Let me check. I read Amazing Spider-Man. You can continue. I'm trying to figure out. Sure. Because I was reading, man.
Something we got here is we actually were talking about the lead up issues to this last episode. No, well, not last episode, on Daily Dingus, where this segment is kind of taking over what Daily Dingus is. Maybe this section is the Daily Dingus, who knows? But this is the official reveal of the first Spider-Verse, first Venomverse issue that they tease. So we get our full-on cover art for that, for the two verses coming together, clashing. I like that Peter Porker's up there. You know, Spider-Ham. Love Spider-Ham.
Yes, Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham steals the scene always. They have this like weird like Cyclops sort of Spider-Man character that's been around. He's kind of interesting.
Oh, here it is. So I knew it was really recent. In fact, it was this month. I read volume 1 through 3.
Okay.
Of the quote unquote current run of Amazing Spider-Man.
See, I thought about reading some of that. You think it's worth a read?
If you're a Spider-Man fan, yes. If you're wanting to get into Spider-Man, yes. But yeah, that was when Zeb Wells was still writing it.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people.
I have not gotten to the Joe Kelly stuff yet.
A new character, yeah. I don't. We'll see. There's a lot of obscure characters that current person could also be. So we'll see. It is funny though. Watch them make a whole Jeff family. Like they're cooking up something else for Jeff though behind the scenes.
Jeff.
Make the Daily Dingus shorter, quick hitting break news videos. Maybe we'll see. I might just take that name out for now and figure out what I want to do with it going forward. So we'll see. We'll start adjusting it. Other thing is too is we may just hit like the main news stuff here in this segment as well, just so we don't spend forever on it as well. So, and there's a couple things I took out as well, but still, like we also have this Fantastic Four fanfare, which this one I'm actually curious about because it involves. It's a 4-issue limited series starting in April that invites back a lot of the Fantastic Four's most influential storytellers, including Jonathan Hickman, Mark Waid, Dan Slott, Alan Davis, J. Michael Straczynski, Chip Zdarsky, Mike Allred, Mark Bagley, and more to tell just new stories in this. I guess it's an anthology series in this case. So in the first issue, we're specifically having Mark Waid, Alan Davis, and Andrew Wheeler as part of it for some new Fantastic Four stuff. So I think it's cool to see them back at least for a little bit. Looking forward to that. So we'll see. Like me some good old Fantastic Four.
Could be interesting. I'm looking forward to that movie for sure.
We'll see how the movie turns out. All right. Well, we got a couple. What did? Oh, I didn't see what Matthew said there a moment ago. He said Captain Marvel as Jim. Truly outrageous. All right. All right. Next thing we have is we actually talked about, or this was talked about on the last Daily Dingus as well. But this is more into the reveal of this whole Summer of Superman publishing initiative that goes into more of some of the first wave of stuff that they just announced, because DC had their solicitations come out. And so we're seeing that they're having the Summer of Superman special issue 1 come out. They're continuing their main Superman line. There's the official cover for Superman the World that we talked about as well. And then, is there anything else here that's new? Action Comics covers. Celebrate Man of Steel Day on Superman Day, April 18th, where you can find All-Star Superman Deluxe Edition, Superman Unchained Deluxe Superman Day Edition, and then there's different All-Star Superman Issue 1 Special Edition, Superman for All Seasons Book 1 Special Edition, an excerpt from the young adult graphic novel Jimmy Olsen's Super Cyclopedia, an Action Comics Issue 1 Golden Age Side Face Smile Edition. Yeah, so a bunch of Superman stuff there. A couple things to look forward to. I like that they're doing something with Superman Day, which I don't think they've really done that in the way that they have with Batman before. So we'll see what happens there. So we'll see. Because they did some stuff like that for Batman Day, and they've done that for the last few years. But and then the other big DC news is we're actually getting our first crossover with Justice League Unlimited, beginning with issue, is it 6? Yeah. Crossing over with World's Finest, and they make this pretty cool connecting cover. Here is what this art is. You can actually buy 3 covers, and it's this cover right here, and you can see it better. Well, maybe see it a little bit better. Okay, that's kind of like a little blurry, but
yeah,
pretty cool cover there though that you can get by getting all 3 of those covers together.
You got the Captain in there. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Okay, ads on the side are being bloody annoying. All right, there we go.
That is actually, I didn't mention this earlier, but that was something else that I had been reading recently. I was trying to get caught up with the current run of Shazam.
Oh, nice.
And I did get caught up with the current run. So, yeah, if you are a fan, anybody out there, if you are a fan of the character Shazam, aka the Captain, as he's known now, this is actually a really good run to get into.
Nice. That's good to hear.
It's written by Mark Waid, in fact. Actually, the first 2 volumes are written by Mark Waid. I think. I think somebody else took over.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
All right. Here's a couple of descriptions about what this event entails. It says the Man of Steel and Dark Knight will be hard pressed to keep up with the psychic powers of DC's sinister Simian, but this time there's something different, as if Grodd has knowledge of the future, and it remains to be seen what any of this has to do with the death of Darkseid, which is a big point with the DC All-In special, and kind of like where the overall DC universe is going right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to that. And then you have the World's Finest annual that's going to go into the secret origin of the Legion of Doom and DC's worst supervillains have set in scheme to lay waste to Batman, Superman, and the Justice League Unlimited. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to this one. At first I saw it, I was like, they're doing a tie-in for Justice League Unlimited already? But then I saw it was only like 3 issues long. It's like, you know what? Fine. I can pick up 2 extra issues for this event. We'll see. We'll see if it's good. And it's written by Mark Waid, and I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, so he's been pretty busy lately.
He's been busy, that's for sure. Very, very true. He has been busy. Couple other things is 2 things left. Is we have 2 new Spawn titles officially announced. We have Black Ritual, the Book of Nyx, and the one I'm looking more forward to that for whatever reason here it is Medieval Spawn. They're done a Medieval Spawn series. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to those. Medieval Spawn is a 4-issue series, so I might get that one. And Book of Nyx is a 7-issue series. So we'll see what happens with them. More Spawn stuff for me as I read the Spawn stuff. And then the last thing I have is Bowling with Corpses and Strange Tales from Unknown Lands, which is the new latest folk-inspired graphic novel from Mike Mignola, where he likes telling these sort of tales of these different folk-inspired tales and whatnot. And you see a bunch of that like scattered in within Hellboy and whatnot, right? Part of what I think makes Hellboy special is how he tells those stories and whatnot. But here he's wanting to tell these kind of tales that's not necessarily a part of Hellboy, just on their own. So here's his special, like, I guess some sort of special anthology book of different tales he's wanted to write. And so here we have Bowling with Corpses and Other Strange Tales from Lands Unknown by Mike Mignola, and have Dave Stewart helping him out. So, yeah, I think something. Actually, it looks like this just came out last week, because it says on January 22nd. So, very cool. So go check that out now. I think that's something I'll keep an eye out for myself. I don't know if I'll get it right away, but I'd like to check it out at some point because I do enjoy what I've read of Hellboy a lot. I do want to read more Hellboy.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that's it for our news section. Yeah. I did have a bit of an interview for that Mike Mignola thing, but if anybody wants it, I'll be sure to share it around so you can check it out. But I think it's time that we get into our main topic. Did you look at how I had these ordered? I meant to.
I didn't look at.
Hold on, let me send this to you because I actually have you going first here. I meant to just before, but this is the order I have them in. So just so you can see.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you watching, listening, I didn't put these in any, like, these are not like descending order of preference or anything like that.
Right.
I kind of listed them as I thought of them.
Yeah.
And this was actually the last, this one I'm about to mention is the one that I picked last because I had a hard time trying to figure out what was going to be number 5.
Yeah.
But I picked, and we just actually mentioned, we actually just mentioned this character. But the book I am going to mention as a favorite is Shazam, The Monster Society of Evil.
Yep.
Written by Jeff Smith, who was the creator of Bone, if you're familiar with that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never read this one. It's on my list. I made the mistake of looking up at like how much it was online. I saw a used copy somewhere for like $6, and I'm like, with free shipping, I should add. And I was like, that's very tempting.
So I participate in a comic book club of sorts once a month at my local comic book shop, which is this one right here. So if you're in the Norman, Oklahoma or OKC metro area, go check out Speeding Bullet Comics. Free plug there.
There you go.
So yeah, it's actually hosted by the library system here. But and the reason I mentioned it is this was the book that this was January's book.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So we talked about this, and it was yeah, it's a good one. It's very, I would say that it is kid friendly.
Okay, that's good.
But there are some darker elements to it, but nothing really scary. I mean, you would think with Monster Society of Evil, it's scary, but it's not really. It's very fun. It's a very fun book. Yeah, no, it's a really good story. If you are wanting to get, like, if you've never read a Shazam book, this would be one of them I would recommend that you start with. There are others that I would recommend you start with. We won't get into those today, but this is a good starting point. It's just fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't read this one. I'd like to. Only 4 issues long, right? So it's not that long of a read.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, it's not very long. Let me find my copy. I'll show you how thick it is. Where is it? So it's.
Oh, you got a nice hardcover.
Yeah, I've got a good hardcover there.
But
yeah, it's about that thick. It's not horrible, but it's fun. It's like, yeah, the artwork is really. I mean, the artwork it's Jeff Smith. Yeah, it's just a really, really fun book. Definitely
nice.
Go check it out if you have not already.
That's awesome. It's on my list. On my list. I'll be honest. I've only read like 1 or 2 of the stories on your list. Actually, one of the stories on your list I've read. So everything else is on my list now to read.
Very good.
My to read list. All right. Before we go on, Taco Cat saying something about Alien Earth being out somewhere on Hulu. Looking forward to that. And be sure to check out last comic club I have put out is about Alien Paradiso that I did with Salacious Rum. So go check that out if you haven't already, if you're an Alien fan. And the next comic club I put out, once I get around to working on actually editing it, probably a little bit, hopefully today I'll get started on it, is over actually my story, which I just picked. I kind of had a reason behind a lot of these, but like these are just kind of like the 5 that stood out most to me. And I want to pick like my favorite Elseworlds tale specifically, and that is Kingdom Come. And we're actually I got the first issue of that recorded, and I just need to edit it together. And so I need to spend a bit of time doing that. But Kingdom Come is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely, one of my favorite ever stories. Honestly, one of my favorite DC stories. And so I just want to highlight that one as it's a fantastic Elseworlds tale, where we're going to see some like bits of inspiration from the story in James Gunn's Superman. So if you haven't checked it out, now is a great time to go read it, as it is utterly fantastic. I just rereading that I only reread the first issue because we're wanting to do it issue by issue. So but that first issue, just rereading it, I loved it.
I would go so far as to say, if you are a comic book fan and have not read Kingdom Come, what are you doing with your life?
You know what? This is a very fair take. It's one of those things where it's if there's any comic specifically that I'd be like, read this comic before watching our video or my video, would be, I think this would be the one where I'd be like, read this one before you watch it. I mean, you could still watch the video because we still talk about what the story is and you'd still understand what it is, but like,
yeah,
just Alex Ross's art. Mark Waid's writing here is fantastic. And like, I actually am going to be able to meet him in like a month and a half, and I'm very ecstatic to just get my copy of this signed. And he's done so much excellent stuff. But this is the top. Like, this is such an amazing story. And so absolutely love it.
Shazam / Captain Marvel is in this story as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's weird because Billy Batson is actually grown up.
Yeah. Well, because
He's
it's
not
like
a kid anymore.
it's a future take, and so you're seeing an older
And
Superman, older Batman, older Green
yeah.
Lantern. They're all in their own situations, and yeah.
And if I'm remembering correctly, this is the story where you learn that Shazam could take Superman.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure this is a story where he comes on the upside of his fight with Superman.
Maybe.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because Shazam is magic.
That's the thing. Superman's weakness has always been like magic and kryptonite. So, Steve number 2 is saying so true. Yeah, exactly. And same age Wonder Woman. Well, we know how those Amazonians are, so, but like everybody else, you could tell they're definitely older, and it's a fantastic story. This is kind of one I'm kind of surprised that we haven't really gotten like a animated movie of. Now, it would be something I'd be like, make one for, but then seeing how badly they butchered Crisis, I don't know if I want them to now.
There's another animated movie based on a DC comic that they butchered really badly, and we will actually talk about that in a little bit.
That's true. That's true.
We won't talk about the movie because we don't talk about that movie.
We don't talk about that one. Yeah. But yeah, no, Kingdom Come's great. Read it. One of my absolute favorite stories. So I think this would be a really good story that you could just jump into without knowing too much.
I'm pretty sure I own that. I'm pretty sure that I do.
My copy's on the other side of my room, or else I'd pull it out.
I keep coming back to this because I actually just got this bookshelf.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Welcome in, Patrick, saying he recently watched an episode of Impractical Jokers and noticed Q has a Kingdom Come Superman tattoo on his body. That's interesting.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I've got Kingdom Come.
There you go. Yeah, great story.
How can you not own Kingdom Come, folks?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. All right.
That and Crisis, really. I mean, as far as DC goes, those are must reads.
Yes, that is true. Very true. All right. Well, let's get into your next favorite then.
Oh yeah, my next one. Let me look at my list here. What? Again, not really descending order or anything like that. So this one is a Star Wars comic book. Tales of the Jedi, Dark Lords of the Sith.
Welcome in, LG. Great to see you here.
Hey, how's it going, Kelly? So this one was written by Kevin Anderson and Tom Veitch. This one tells the story of a former Jedi by the name of Exar Kun, who turns to the dark side and starts up a whole big old Sith war with the Republic. It's just really well written. It is now considered Legends, as you can see, or actually, can they see the cover?
Yes, yes, they do.
Okay. As you see there, it's listed as Legends, and it takes place chronologically. It's several thousand years before Phantom Menace, but it's so where's it? So it's about 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Nice.
And it's this is back when Dark Horse was doing Star Wars comics.
Right.
I think. Oh yeah, okay. It says Marvel there, so I'm pretty sure that you can read that on Marvel Unlimited now.
I believe you can. You know, I can double check on that really quick here as I have the app here on my phone that I can just open up and search it up here really quick.
I mean I haven't thought about looking because I own the trade. It's over there somewhere.
Nice.
But yeah, this was originally a 6-issue miniseries.
I see it right here.
Okay, it is on there. Okay, good deal. So some of the main characters, you got Exar Kun, you've got Nomi Sunrider, Ulit Queldrama, and it's about in addition to it being about the fall of Exar Kun, it is also actually about the fall of Ulit Queldrama, who starts off with he is trying to infiltrate a Sith magic cult called the Kraith or Krath. And then he ends up falling to the dark side. And he and Exar Kun team up, and like I said, they start off this huge flipping war, which there is a sequel to this book called The Sith War. And it continues that story. But,
so would you be good to begin with this, or is there other like Tales of the Jedi stuff to read before this one, you'd say?
No, you can start here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I haven't read much of Legends. I think there's maybe one Legends comic I've read.
I think that's all I think if there was one book that you might want to read before this, and really it's just helpful with the background information.
Okay.
But not necessary.
Sure.
It is called the Freeden Nad Uprising.
Okay.
So not necessary, but nice to know.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely like to delve into these sometimes, you know, maybe future episode content somewhere. So
for sure.
For sure, yeah. All right. Well, we have my number 4 up next. And that is I just highlighted Spawn in particular.
You didn't say we could do that.
Well, here's what we could do is I put it more with the intention of like the original arcs of Spawn, like the first bit of Spawn, you know. I didn't necessarily find like a specific, like, I don't know what you'd call Spawn, like the original arc of, you know, like the original Spawn, like first couple arcs or whatever, you know. And so because obviously, while I still enjoy what Spawn is now, because I still read it, it's not nearly as good. As the original stuff, was just special. Like the original Spawn stuff, I think is fantastic, and you know, it's just a huge comic for what it did to kick off this whole creator-owned era of Image, and it's the only character to really the only character to survive, I think, really, other than maybe Savage Dragon, that whole 90s sort of Image character era. I know they're bringing back Youngblood and all that, which that's going to be a big thing this year. So, but Spawn, though, I think is an absolutely fantastic character that more people need to talk about. You know, need more attention to. I love the Spawn cartoon, and I think that cartoon overall does a really good adaptation of this like original story. And so,
hey, Kat.
And so, yes, welcome in, Kat. Great to see you here. Absolutely wonderful. And yes, Shell Talk is our show, me and Chris's show about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics and maybe some other stuff.
Oh, okay. That makes
Patrick asked, will we get Kingdom Come Superman in James Gunn's Super DCU? So how this is working is we're going to have a reverse Kingdom Come situation in James Gunn's DCU. What that means is, I think the easiest way to put it is Kingdom Come is a story about where the new generation of heroes has lost their way of what it means to be a hero. So Superman has to come back to essentially show them what it means to be a hero. we're going to see this similar idea, but entered into a new way of where Superman, while it's not necessarily a year one Superman, it's still the Superman earlier on, like a year 2 or 3 per se. So he's been Superman for a little bit, but you're not necessarily getting like an old Superman. But
Yeah.
you're going to see that though, and you see it with all the guest characters in the Superman trailer. You see Hot Girl, you see Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and you don't really get to see what Metamorpho is wearing, but like those 3 characters in particular, I don't know if we're actually going to see Maxwell Lord in the movie, but they all have Maxwell Lord logos on the back of their shirts. And so we are getting, in a sense, the a Kingdom Come Superman that is going to come in and show, or a Superman like that, what the Kingdom Come Superman did in James Gunn Superman, that's going to show these heroes what it really means to be a hero, and not to just be a hero as part of a corporation for the money, for the fame, all that, but like what does it actually mean to be a hero. So that's why I call it a reverse Kingdom Come, and that's the reason why there's 4 specific Superman stories that's highlighted that DC, I don't know if it's out now or not, but there's a collection that DC's coming out as far that collects 4 Superman stories of like, these are the main stories that's inspired for James Gunn's Superman, and that's one of them. We have All-Star Superman in that, Superman for All Seasons, and then the last one is called Superman the Man of Tomorrow. Is that right? I don't remember what that one specifically is called. It's like the last Superman story of the Crisis Superman, essentially, is what that is. The Last Man of Tomorrow. Hold on, I'm gonna look up what the Superman story is, or else it's gonna bother me if I can't figure it out. It is called Superman the Man of Tomorrow. Oh no, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is what it's called. So yeah, but yeah, there you go, Patrick. That's my very long answer of that. So yes and no, I guess, like the character of it, you were kind of pretty much getting in some regards, because I think the reason why those stories specifically are highlighted isn't because this is the Superman story James Gunn is telling, but it's all those stories in particular highlight aspects of the Superman character, and that's what James Gunn wants to highlight most, is trying to bring a proper Superman to life. So anyway, that's a big tangent there about Superman. But back to Spawn. Steve Numbers 2 says Spawn first 100 issues really good. Yeah, those I'll be honest, I actually haven't completely read to like 100 all the way. Because like I took a break and then started reading like modern stuff, and so like I haven't completely made it up there. I've been working on it, but the original ones are fantastic, and it's what you like need to read as far as Spawn stuff goes. And I know what happens in issue 100 too, just because of the massive ripple effects of it too. So, but it's huge. Spawn stuff is great though. But yeah, in particular though, just here, even though I'm just showing the first issue, I'm more just highlighting like the first like arc or 2 that he did. That the original Todd McFarlane Spawn stuff here. It's a great character, and I love Keith David's voice. When he voices Spawn in the animated series, or he came back to voice him in Mortal Kombat 11, and so that was all awesome. And so anytime I read Spawn, I just hear Keith David's voice, he does a fantastic job with the character. Absolutely love it. And Spawn's one of my favorite characters too. Like I have a whole thing of Spawns back there with a, you can't really see them, but I have Spawns back there. One with the Todd McFarlane autograph plate there in front of it too. So yeah. Spawn is my number 4 pick. All right. Now for Steve's number 3 pick.
All right. So for this one, I decided to go with a Punisher story arc because I am a fan of Punisher. Well, I'm a fan of most Punisher books. There's a time frame in there where I was not into it, but I went with Suicide Run. which is a story arc that came out in the late 80s. It was a crossover event, but only a crossover event as far as Punisher is concerned, because at the time there were 3 Punisher titles. There was Punisher, and there was Punisher War Journal, and there was Punisher Warzone. And so this crossed over into all of them. There was 11 issues total. And so long story short, Frank Castle is investigating a meetup of mob bosses, and he wants to take them out, of course. And it turns out that it was all a ruse to get him in this building, and they basically bombed the building and dropped it on him. So everybody thought he was dead. And it's the story of all these different characters that take up the mantle of the Punisher. There's a cop who's kind of like jaded with the system. There's like a postal worker. There's various characters that like take up the mantle of the Punisher, giving their own kind of swing on it, or their own tilt.
Sure.
And it's just a really fun story. It's got there's several writers on it. The 2 that I think are the most well known that you folks out there watching, reading would probably know more than the others is going to be Chuck Dixon and Larry Hama.
Oh yes.
But
Larry.
Yeah, there was several writers on this, but good stuff.
Yeah.
Good run.
That's awesome. Haven't delved into much Punisher myself.
It's a good one.
I should. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, for my number 3, I actually have my personal favorite Batman story. And that is Batman: The Long Halloween. I just love this story for all the different aspects of Batman that it brings together. You see a fantastic rogues gallery come together in this, especially with how each issue is unique in its own ways of focusing on a different event. Each issue focusing on a different holiday of sorts, and so I really like. I just love the whole story involved with it. I think it's great. It's a fantastic Batman story. Like I said, it's my favorite Batman story. I love this story so much. Really getting into
essential Batman reading.
It is an essential Batman read, and this is funny because it's one of those things where it's like when I first heard about Long Halloween, I was like, I don't know if I really want to read it. It didn't sound as interesting to me. And then I remember I just like went to read it, and I remember that night I couldn't put it down. I literally read through like the whole thing straight that night. And so I love the story so much. It's fantastic. Written by Jeff Loeb and late Tim Sale. Rest in peace. His art in this is amazing. And yeah, I just love it. Like I really do think it's like the best written Batman story there is. My personal favorite for sure.
Yeah.
I love the aspects of that focusing on him being a detective, but you still get that like badass Batman action with it too. So like for me, this is just like what I think the best put together Batman story is that shows all the aspects of the character. Now, yeah, I love the story. The animated movie, it was fine. Like that changed a couple parts just to kind of be changed it, but it didn't break the story for me. I think I liked it though, but like
I will agree with that. It was fine, not great. Fine.
Yeah.
Much better adaptation than the animated adaptation.
Well, let's get into
book we're going to talk about next.
Yeah. So I was actually just about to lead into your book then too, is that I say this is my favorite one, but I think yours is actually my very close second favorite Batman story for me. And so let's
So this is my favorite Batman story arc of all time. And out of the 5 that I picked, the 5 that we picked today, if I were going to pick a definitive top 5 story, like comic book storylines of all time, this would be in there. Absolutely. Written by Jeff Loeb, like the previous one, but the artwork's done by Jim Lee. This is my hardcover copy of it.
That's so good.
Hush. Absolute favorite Batman story. So freaking good. Just so artwork is just amazing. Writing is so amazing. The antagonist is amazing. Just everything about this book is so good. Came out in 2002. It ran for 10 or 11 issues, I think.
Right.
And it's just from beginning to end, it's just an amazing freaking book. I can't say enough about it. The animated version was absolute crap, and that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't talk about that movie.
We don't talk about that one.
I tried to pretend that movie did not exist. It was so bad. So bad.
Yeah, that one pissed me off. But this one it's a fantastic story. Great pick. And I know we've been talking about it a little bit before on Daily Dingus about a Batman Hush 2 coming out this year too.
Oh man,
we're getting in under 2 months.
Dude, I am so freaking like excited for that.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something for sure for Batman Hush 2. Like,
and I'm sure that we're gonna talk about it on the Batcave as well.
Yeah. We're gonna do something for it. It's just big. It's just big. Something somewhere,
And it's the same creative team.
So that's the big thing too.
Yeah. So it's like, damn.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's big to have that creative team back, and it's going to make, I think, a really wonderful follow-up story. Can't wait to see how they're all gonna handle it. So I very excited for that.
So excited.
Yeah.
I said how excited I am.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll go on to my next pick. My number, I guess it's actually our number 2's picks. So, but yeah, my pick. This is actually the comic I'd say that got me into heavily reading comics. Not the comic that got me into reading comics, but the comic that got me into heavily reading comics. I kind of differentiate. I kind of differentiate like 2 big stories between what got me into reading it heavily and one that just got me into generally reading them. And so this one's a very special story to me because of that reason. This is a story I remember on a whim. I went to Barnes & Noble and I was like, you know what? Let's get some new comics. And they had their like buy 2 get 1 free. So what I bought specifically was Joker, The Death of the Family, The Road to Dark Knight's Metal, and then this version of Dark Knight's Metal. And I love the Joker story. The Joker one's actually one of my favorite Joker comics. But and honestly, it was probably an honorable mention to be in my top 5 here, to be honest. But this one, though, is after I read it, I just thought, holy crap, we're never going to see something this awesome on screen, like ever. I love the wacky multiversal story that it had here of just having and bringing in the idea of a dark multiverse, of where it's like you have your usual map of the multiverse. Well, what if you flip it over and, just like how the kids in Stranger Things took over the map to find the Upside Down, there's the dark multiverse. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get all these evil Batman from. That's where you get the Batman Who Laughs, which is one of my favorite DC villains. This is just not saying it's the best written event. I would agree that Crisis is the best written DC event. But this is my personal favorite DC event, though, just because I absolutely love the story with it, the different characters you see to come to light there. I love the crazy multiversal threat that you get with Batman Who Laughs and his rogues gallery of the different Dark Knights. Perpetua being the big main big bad. Actually, you know, it's not the Batman Who Laughs is pulling, not the Batman Who Laughs pulling all these strings. It's somebody else, and so. It's a great multiversal crazy story that I just love. It's the story that got me into really liking Scott Snyder into like as one of my personal favorite comic writers, as well as my big introduction to Greg Capullo, as he's just one of my favorite comic artists as well. And so I just love the story a lot. Like it's great. It's a great story. Absolutely love it.
I remember reading it when it first came out, and I liked it. I'm gonna have to go and reread it though.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's got to be on DC Infinite.
Oh yeah, for sure it would be. Yeah, I love this one. Anybody that wants a crazy, awesome, good, and I don't think you need a whole lot to like background reading for it. Like the Road 2 includes a couple issues. That's a good read up, but those are like specific like Dark Knight's Metal lead up issues. Like I don't remember what those 2 issues are called. Like those are definitely worth reading before you read this whole main thing.
Yeah.
But you don't need to necessarily read all the other issues like before that.
Yeah, they are all well,
It should be.
Yeah, they're on DC Infinite. I'm probably not going to read all of the tie-ins.
Yeah.
But there are 10 issues that are considered core.
Well, wait, what's the core ones? Because I think this main one's either 6 or 7, and then you
have
the
okay. So you've got the 6 issues.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. 6
of that, but there are others that DC Infinite considers core. One of them is the Forge.
Okay, so that's one of the 2 like lead up issues. That's the main one.
Dark Days, the casting.
That's the other one. Okay, so those are the main 2 ones before the event.
And then Batman Lost.
Oh yeah. Okay. Isn't there one other?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I have read Batman Lost. I don't think I have. No, the last one that's included in that 10 core is Dark Knights Rising: The Wild Hunt.
Okay.
Written by Grant Morrison. Okay.
So what's funny is that actually some of the Grant Morrison Batman work is actually like part of like the title lead up into like some of this that they give of like suggested stories to read before this. Very much specifically the time when Batman dies from, I think it's a Grant Morrison story as well. Final Crisis, is that right?
Yeah, Final Crisis is okay. Just for a little background, Final Crisis is the reason I'm not a fan of Grant Morrison.
All right. Well,
I just felt that book was very. What is the word I am looking for? Very convoluted.
Okay. Like I remember reading it, liking it, but it definitely wasn't one of my favorite events by any means.
It was very hard to follow, and just it made me like, I don't think I like this guy's writing. But yes, that did lead up into Batman's death, and subsequently the Batman RIP storyline.
Well, that's that Return of Bruce Wayne storyline is what took place right after.
I was getting ready to say that one as well.
Okay,
yeah, Return of Bruce Wayne, where he's like time traveling, and it's
So that storyline specifically is a big thing that like, not that they intentionally set it up back then, but it's part of what they use for the reasoning of like why it's all tied into this story here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah. I absolutely love this event, and so like I won't lie, like
I'll have to reread it sometime.
Yeah, you'll reread it and then message me and be like, "Why do you love this story so much again?" No, I'm joking.
Oh, man.
I recommend if you want a crazy multiversal story, this is what I'd say to check out. So, all right. Here's your number one.
My absolute number one, and this is by order of preference. My absolute favorite comic book storyline is X-Men Age of Apocalypse. I had been reading X-Men comic books before this. I had been reading comic books before this a lot. I would say this is the storyline that got me heavily into reading comics, like very heavy.
Okay.
Like this event came out and I remember going to the comic book store and I was going with a friend and I saw there was a poster announcing this, like just kind of a sneak peek type thing. I'm like, oh, what is this? And the owner was like, well, Professor X dies, and this world is what happens because of it. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And so when it came out, I started collecting it. And let me tell you, reading this for the first time, issue by issue, was very difficult. Because like you go back and read it now all at one, all in one sitting, basically, and it's like it's a great story, but back then it was just like, oh, what happens next?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like waiting for the next issue was rough on these, and it's it's amazing. It's like so. I wouldn't say that you have to read Legion Quest before reading this. It isn't 100% a necessity, but I would strongly recommend it. Because Legion Quest, in a nutshell, Legion, Professor X's son, goes back in time, wants to kill Magneto, accidentally kills his dad. And so he disappears because Professor X is dead. He doesn't exist. And so the only one that survives that time travel, because a lot of people are chasing David Legion to stop him. Yeah. But the only one that survives that time travel is Bishop. So he's the only one that knows the original universe. So Age of Apocalypse, basically, so Professor X is not around to form the X-Men. Apocalypse takes over America and kills most humans. And he's about to take over the world. And Magneto is actually the leader of the X-Men. And that's all I'm going to say. It's an amazing story. I could not imagine them trying to do an animated version of this because it would be terribly long.
I think they're going to do it somewhat in the new season of X-Men 97.
I could see that. I could see them trying to do that. But this one, there's a lot of issues. Yeah. There's a lot of. If you're just going with the core. There were, I'm trying to remember, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are basically 7 core books, and each one had 4 issues, but there were also a lot of tie-ins and extra books in this. So
yeah. There's a lot of stuff in it. I remember I looked into it before. I don't know if you can tell an issue count for what Marvel Unlimited has, but if you look at it, you can just look here and you can just see it keeps on going and going and going and going and go. And there, okay, there's the end.
Because so the event ended, and then several years later, they were like, we're going to write some stories in that universe.
Oh,
so it's like, okay, so you're going in there to fill in some gaps.
Age of Apocalypse.
You didn't really need to fill in any gaps, but you did. So because it was such a popular storyline that, you know, they went in and wrote some more. I mean, they wanted to make money because it was a very well selling story. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I think we're gonna have to figure out to do an episode of this one sometime because I need to read it. You've been telling me for how long now that I need to read this? Years at this point, probably. So maybe we'll figure out something to do for sure for this, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And then for the last story to talk about tonight is actually the comic that got me into just generally reading comics, and that is the Infinity Gauntlet. And I not the very first comic I read. Like, I think there's a couple I read before this, but like literally only like maybe a few. But this is the one that after I read it, I was like, it's what made me just want to read comics, and it's probably my favorite Marvel story. And so, I just love the whole, like, Thanos has been my favorite Marvel villain for many, many years. Well, he might have been recently thwarted by Doctor Doom, but I don't know. Those are my two favorite villains. But nonetheless, point is, though, the point of the story of Thanos with all the gems and what he does with the Infinity Gauntlet here, and the story, you know, where it all comes from here, and seeing Infinity War pull up so much of the story beats from this too, which just made me so happy with the movie. But this story in particular, this is like my personal big, like, quintessential sort of Marvel story for me. Is like, that's what got me into it. It's my favorite Marvel event that there is. Yeah, I just love this story. It's like what I said, it's what got me into just wanting to read comics, because from here, after reading this story, is where I went to reading. Actually, I clicked a lot of Thanos specific stuff, like on and off. Like, next time I was like, when I want to buy a comic, let's keep an eye out for like a Thanos story and whatnot. So that's like, I got really into the cosmic side of Marvel, and being into like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that because of this comic. And so that's kind of like what started making me read some comics and start reading some like stories here and there of, like, you know, I'll read some comics every now and then, but not necessarily religiously like I'd say I do now. You can thank the previous story, Dark Knight's Metal, for that, but this is the one that really opened my eyes. Right? Let's read. You know, this is the one I really like, that, you know, got me into just reading them. So, love this story though.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I know I've read it. I don't think I read this when it first came out, but it probably wasn't too far after that.
Yeah.
So another one on your list that I think I'm going to have to reread, because it's been a while.
Yeah. It's a great story.
It's been a while. I'm pretty sure this is on Marvel Unlimited too.
Yes, it is. I was just about to pull it up on there because I think they might have a version of it with a bunch of the different tie-ins and stuff. And I've actually never read it with all those different tie-ins and stuff. Like, when I talk about liking the story, I just mean the straight up original
6-issue miniseries.
6 issues. And then, but then there was, before this though, like Dark Knight's Metal, there is I think it's 2 issues that led into it called Thanos Quest. And I think it's 2 issues long. I could be wrong, but that's the story of how it shows how Thanos got all the Infinity Stones. Because this comic literally opens with showing Thanos having all the Infinity Stones. Mephisto's with him. You see Mephisto scared. You see the devil scared of what Thanos is about to do. And in those first few pages of the comic is when Thanos does his famous snap.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's I love it. And so it's a great story. I was trying to look here about the reading guide that they have for they have the Infinity Trilogy here, which that's just a basic trilogy. But wait, I feel like they have the okay, maybe they don't. Because I know they did like a bit of crossover comics with it before and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily see on there. But anyway, this is my personal favorite, personal favorite Marvel story. One of my favorites of all time. And so there we go. There we have it. Just our roundup. Like we said earlier, these aren't necessarily our top favorite stories of all time. These are just, I mean, some of those would definitely be on our
some
list.
Some of them are, yeah.
Right. But we're just saying these are just a general 5 stories that we really enjoy. We wanted to shout out. For me, I wanted to have mine in a way of sharing the ones, especially those last 2, something that actually means something to me, but also just kind of pointing out stories like those were the big ones that I still really look back on and be like, this is why I really started reading into a bit of it heavily, Long Halloween being that big Batman story to point out, Spawn being the sort of creator-owned character and just character singular sort of character that I'm really into, and so
if I were doing a definitive top 5,
it might take us
Apocalypse and Hush would both be on there.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Most of these would be on there. I'd have to be going to solitude a little bit to figure out a definitive top 5. But but yeah, I think that was a great first episode here. Thank you everybody for coming by. It was a great first episode to having you all here. Thank you so much for coming on by. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. As I'm speaking at the moment, the channel is at exactly 150 subscribers. So thank you very much. Can now start looking up to the goal of trying to hit 200. And so, keep it going here. Very much looking forward to getting into this weekly comic show. We don't know what we're doing next week yet, but as soon as we know, keep on look at the Dingus Den, mainly Twix, right down there. That is the main place where I post stuff. I'm going to try to get better about posting on other places, but I'll be honest, I'm just not good at the social media posting stuff. I'm good about staying on there and reading stuff for longer than I should and watching stuff for longer than I should. But reading about as far as posting stuff, I'm bad about doing that on the whatever. But anyway, but yes, keep an eye out there or in the Discord if you want to link to the Discord and whatever. Hit me up. You know where to find me, right down there at the Dingus Den. So, and also catch me on Twitch, which is right. Sorry, that way. Down there, Twitch, Dingus Den Twitch, where I actually, let's see here, 2 days ago, I streamed some Doom, the original Doom, starting my Doomathon, Road to the Doom the Dark Ages, which I'm very excited for, the new Doom game coming out next year. So keep an eye out for when I go live on Twitch as well for my gaming shenanigans. I was going to say I'm going to start streaming mainly on Sundays, a weekly Sunday Twitch streams. Can't guarantee that'll happen because of us now doing this show. So I might change it to Saturday. Maybe I'll do a Twitch gaming after stream on some of them. So we'll see. But thank you everybody so much for coming by. Before we get out of here, where can the people find you at, Steve?
I would say just go to Twitter at Rebel Rock Pod. That's where my Rebel Rock Radio podcast is at. And then I am also on Instagram. Rebel Rock Radio does have an Instagram, but mine is at Otter272.
Alrighty. Go follow him there. yeah, thank you so much for coming by. Be sure to check out all the Dingiston stuff I have coming out. Shell Talk Tuesday, premiere episode of Shell Talk, I should say. So having 2 shows starting within the span of a week, not just a week, but like a couple days. Having the comic den here, and then Shell Talk on Tuesday. So be sure to check that out. Where I'm with fellow Redshirt Chris talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, The Last Ronin, massive story that we delved into. Here's in a half shell, exactly. And so thank you all so much for coming by. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Anything else? Check out Red Shirts Remastered. We do some stuff over there. But yeah, until then, see you all next time here in the Dingus Den. Stay tuned for what's next. Bye.